What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Baddog here with another New York Giants video. As always, thanks for clicking on the video. If you do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. It helps out huge. Hit the subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. The Giants are back, baby. Preseason's over. Dallas Cowboys in 13 days. Looking forward to that. Sure, Cowboy fans think it's going to be an easy game. I see a piece of fuzz in my hat. Now it's gone. I think it's going to be an easy game. I beg to differ. Here's to you. I want to go over the the Brian Daboll interview on the injured players and roster moves. So I'm going to do that real quick. Again, I'm going to do this a lot this upcoming season. Well, pretty much reacting to all this post-game stuff, but I just kind of want to react to this. You guys and girls always let me know your comments in the chat. Let me know what you think about what he said here as far as this goes. So let's bring Coach Dabes on as we speak. Coach Dabes, welcome to the Dog Pound. All right, let's listen to Coach Daboll, who I always love his press conferences. Never gives the media like a taste. Never gives them the whole meal. And look at Coach Daboll. Look at the stoic look on the man's face, ready to attack the media like nobody else. I felt like since day one, he and Shane have been able to do a lot. They've said a lot without really saying a lot, and they haven't lied. They pretty much come through, and they've said a lot. Like they've almost said too much without really saying anything. It's very weird the way they've done this, but I love the way both of them have handled the media. And let's hear what Coach Dabes has to say.
With Isaiah Simmons. How quickly can you expect him to kind of pick up everything the Giants do, including obviously Wink in the defense?
I think that was Kim Jones, but could be wrong.
Really, I think you have to get to know the player first and see what he can handle. So we're really in introductory stages. I know he's going to give everything he has and meet with Eggs and Wink and try to pick up all the things we need him to pick up. So he'll be in here, I'd say, a bunch, kind of not just learning how we do things on the defensive side of the ball, but learning how we do them, in terms of our program and the expectations and the standards. So just talking to him the brief time I've had a chance to meet him and talk to him, I know he's eager to do that. And, I expect him to be in here a bunch.
Yeah, I am. You guys know I'm pumped up about the Isaiah Simmons move. This was a guy I was extremely high on coming out of Clemson a few years ago. And I wanted the Giants to take him. I know a lot of Giants fans have shied away from that. Like, I always wanted Andrew Thomas. I don't shy away from it. I said I wanted Isaiah Simmons. I'm obviously glad that we went with Andrew Thomas because that was the correct pick. But Isaiah Simmons has played out of position. Arizona, I had somebody come in my chat last night, my guy Arizona Animal, and say he can't play linebacker. I do think Simmons can do a lot of different things, and I don't think that he's going to just have to play linebacker. I think that Arizona is a disaster. They don't know who their quarterback is. They've made a ton of trades. They're emptying everybody out. They traded up to get Josh Rosen. The next year they're drafting Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray's not working. So now they're telling Kyler Murray that he has to do a certain amount of, film study, or he put that as a clause in his contract. They would scapegoat Isaiah Simmons. They mismanaged him, miscoached him. He didn't play in the preseason most of the time. He came out, he had to cover Travis Kelce and George Kittle, and he got beat. Who doesn't get beat by those guys? And then they bench him, and they'd use him as a scapegoat. It's a disaster in Arizona. And sometimes for a player, it just helps a change of position. We need to look no further than our own Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram always had a load of talent. No Giants fan would ever question his talent. But you question his mentality here. He dropped a lot of passes, a lack of concentration. Perhaps all that losing messed him up. It's possible. He's human. He goes to Jacksonville. Look at how much better he is, right? So there's no doubt in my mind, Isaiah Simmons always had the talent. His numbers are not bad in Arizona. He had a career-high 4 sacks this year. He had 2 picks. He had a touchdown. He had 109 tackles the year before last. Last year, I think he had 97. The man can play. Now you have Isaiah Simmons to go with. Azeez Ojulari, Kayvon Thibodeau, Bobby Okereke. Isaiah Simmons is going to be able to do a lot. Wink Martindale is going to be able to do a lot with that kind of talent. So I'm anxious to see what Wink Martindale can do. And I'm sure that Wink Martindale is excited to see what Isaiah Simmons can do. And even just take a look at Coach Dave's smile. He knows. He knows they got a gem in Isaiah Simmons, baby. Let's go.
If I could just follow up quickly,
Sure.
I obviously talked to him less than you have. So
Yep.
When you find a player who certainly seems as enthusiastic about the trade, happy for the new opportunity, and comes with that mindset, how much easier, for lack of a better word, does that make a transition both for the player, but honestly for you guys as well?
Yeah, no, I think it's good for both sides. I know he is excited to be here. We're excited to have him. So just going to require a good amount of hard work to try to catch him up as quickly as we can.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he's not going to start from day one because he does have a lot to learn. Obviously, coming into a new situation, got to get used to your teammates, got to get used to your coaches. As Coach Daboll said, you got to get used to the way they do things around there. But again, man, I've been wrong a bunch of times. I mean, I've been right a bunch of times. I've been wrong a bunch of times. Everybody always lets me know when I'm wrong. But I'm telling you, man, this move is going to be huge to the Giants. Listen, we play Arizona week 2. You don't think that Isaiah Simmons is going to want to have a little revenge? You don't think Isaiah Simmons has circled September 17th on that calendar? Going back to Arizona. You don't think he wants to prove a point to that coaching staff? Isaiah Simmons, baby. I'm telling you, man, that man is going to have a big year for the Giants.
You're welcome.
How polite of Coach Dave to say you're welcome.
Rock.
Brian, when you guys signed Shep in the offseason, I don't know if there was any, concrete expectation that he would be able to get as far as he has here. I guess has he shown you enough, do you think, to prove that he can help this team this year?
Now, I don't know what Daboll says here, but I'm going to say he gives an answer that doesn't really answer the question.
Yeah, everything we've asked him to do, and we've had a rehab plan I know I've talked about for him. He's done a nice job of really kind of hitting each marker that we've set for him, up to this point. So pleased with where he's at. I think the trainers have done a really good job with him. And then he's done a good job just, himself as a player of being ready to go. And I'd say performing well each time he's had an opportunity to go out there on the practice field or in the game of, being conscientious, knowing what to do. And then, he's looked pretty good in terms of his quickness and his explosion, coming back after a couple of years of injuries. So I'm pleased with where he's at.
I do think Shepard makes the team. You want to know my 53-man roster? I didn't do a video on it. I did a live stream on it last night, so you can go back and check that. I'm not going to do the video over again, but I do think Shep makes the. I do think he makes the roster.
I think there's probably a lot of people on the outside who look at him playing last night, and particularly him fielding that punt, and say, well, that's not a role that someone who's got a secured place on this roster would probably be doing in a last preseason game. Do you see it like that, or what?
See, now, to me, again, I don't know how Daboll answers this. I think it's a stupid question because during the preseason, you want to see what guys can do. You want to see their role. Sterling Shepard is not going to be one of the top 4 wide receivers. That'll be Paris Campbell, Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, and Jalen Hyatt. So Shep is going to be the 5th or 6th receiver on this team. I don't know who they're going to have fielding punts. It's been Eric Gray. Eric Gray's been fielding kickoffs, punts. They've had other guys back there as well. But if Eric Gray gets hurt, okay, and hopefully he doesn't, but say Sterling Shepard has to return kicks or punts in a pinch, you want to see if he can do that. You don't want to have to put Adoree Jackson back there like they did last year, and then have somebody like in a starting defense, like your best defensive corner, your best player in the secondary at that time. McKinney was hurt. You don't want to have him lose him for the season again. So to me, this is when you experiment with your players to see what they can and can't do. You ask them to do certain things because you want to see what they're capable of handling. And if they're going to do what you're asking them to do, you want to see if they're going to be a team player. I don't know how he answers this. I'm not a head coach. Let's see what he says.
What were you trying to get out of all that last night?
Yeah, no, that was the next step of his rehab to get him out there and play a few more reps in live competition. And again, I told you guys last night he can catch punts, and it'd be good for him to get out there in the live action and catch a punch. So, where he's at, what we've asked him to do, I'm happy with the progress that he's made.
Okay, not close to the answer. Not close. I still think that is what you do. I do think that you experiment with players, see what they can and can't handle in the preseason. That's when you want to see can we put Sterling Shepard back there? Can he catch a punt? Can he go back there and fair catch a punt?
Bob Brookover.
Hey Brian,
Hey, Bob.
Is there any update on injuries and if not, is there
Yeah.
anything? Go ahead.
I don't have a lot of them because we're not at that point yet. The one that I do have, and I'll give it to you guys, is Bryce Ford Wheaton will be out. He'll be out for the year. He had an ACL, unfortunately.
Yeah, that sucked. Heard that last night. It sucks. I don't think Bryce Ford Wheaton was making the team anyway. It sucks that it's an entire year. It's too bad like it wasn't a sprain or something that might keep him out for 4 weeks where they could put him on IR and that he could, the Giants could keep him and not lose him to a waiver claim. But obviously he's going to miss the year.
And or any of the other that obviously impacts.
Yeah, the other ones, there's still people getting looked at right now as we speak. So I have more for you guys Tuesday.
Okay, yeah. The other guy I wanted to ask you about is Tommy DeVito. I think he called it his worst moment of his career, first pick 6 of his career. But what did you say to him after that, and how did you feel he responded to that last?
I'm going to be honest. I thought David Sills kind of gave up on that route. I'm not saying that it was a good throw by DeVito, but I felt like Sills didn't come back to the ball and allow the defender to jump the route. I thought Sills had a good game last night. I don't think Sills makes this roster. I thought Sills did come back from that, but I thought that was a bad moment for David Sills as much as it was Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, should go out there and sling it. Plays are going to happen. Bad plays are going to happen in a game, and to have a next play mentality and go through the play, just kind of see what happened, talk about it, and move on and go out there and sling it around.
I think that helped Daniel Jones a lot last year too. That type of attitude. Hey, turn it over, go back out there, and make good on it.
Were you happy with what you saw from him in this camp, and did he maybe even exceed expectations?
Yeah, I don't really have expectations for any player when they come in here, other than just come in here, work hard, learn the material, and try to improve. And I think he's done all those since he's been here. He's been a good addition to our quarterback room. He'll be the first to tell you a long way to go, a lot to learn still, but certainly he's gotten better each day he's been here.
I want Tommy D to stick around on this team. I don't know what the Giants are going to do with him. I don't know if they'll keep 3 quarterbacks. So if they don't keep him, there's a good chance he's not going to clear waivers and they would lose him. So I'm interested. I like the way DeVito played. Again, he played behind one of the – you Giants fans watch the offensive line in front of Tommy DeVito. I don't need to say anything else.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dan Duggan.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Dan.
As far as punt returner, do you have an answer there? Like, do you know who's going to be the punt returner week 1 right now?
Yeah, I have a good idea, but we'll see.
Is that Eric Gray or is it somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm not going to get into week 1 and all that stuff right now. We'll just kind of keep practicing here and see what happens.
And why didn't Tyree play last night?
Yeah, that was he wasn't ready to play relative to coming back from his injury.
I guess Jordan's going to hand about steal one from him anyways. And then Darnay Holmes, like, does he have value to this team? Because obviously, it doesn't seem like he obviously won the slot corner job, but does he still have value to this team?
What's he going to do? Say no?
Yeah, sure. I'd say, everybody we have.
What the hell kind of question is that? Does he still have value? Even if he doesn't, Daboll's like, no, yeah, he's worthless. We're going to cut him. Come on.
Right now has some sort of value. What that is, I think is varying degrees, but have a lot of confidence and trust in Darnay, and we'll see how everything plays out.
I have a Darnay Holmes is very interesting. He could make the 53-man roster, but again, I'm not positive about the cap. I'm pretty sure he's about $3 million. And I think the cap hit is like 500. It's not a lot. The Giants would save like $2.5 million if they did cut him. That's a possibility. Again, Holmes is a guy that could definitely make the 53, and then when all the other teams make their cuts and players are available on the waiver wire, they could replace him then. So it'll be interesting. I think Darnay Holmes is hanging on by a thread. I think Matt Parrott's also hanging on by a thread.
Thanks.
Yep, you got it.
Jordan Renan.
Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, Jordan, how are you?
Good. I'm curious, what went into the decision with Colin Johnson as the guy who last year might have started, prior to that injury, and he didn't make it through the cuts this year. Like, what kind of held him back? And in your opinion, is he still kind of getting back from that Achilles injury?
It sucks. I really like Colin Johnson, man. That kid works hard. Just injuries, man.
Yeah, Jordan, it's a good question. I'd say really with everybody that we've kind of moved on from and that we will move on from, it's long discussions. They're hard discussions. We have a room that we felt comfortable with, and I figured it would be a good opportunity for him to get a jump start on, potentially the next team, doing him the right way. But, a guy that's a hard worker, just, we had some other guys that we were going to keep.
Okay, and then continuing with the wide receiver position, are you planning to have Wandale on the initial 53, or at this point do you wait?
Yeah, I'd say we're still in discussions on that.
I got nothing to add there.
Potty Traynor.
Okay. We all know that's Patty Traynor. All right. She's the best. But I have to laugh at the closed caption that said potty. She is not a potty trainer. All right. Her name is Patty Traynor. Let's get it right. Closed captioning. But potty trainer is pretty funny. I can tell you this. With all the shitstorm that was here from 2017 to 2021, we needed a few potty trainers because Joe Judge was shitting all over the field.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good, Patty. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Dave, last year your roster, your situation was a little different in that you were just coming off of training camp. You were getting to know these guys, what they can do and whatnot. So when you cut guys, your message to them, from what I understand, was stay ready in case we need you to come back. Is that still your message to these guys, even though you have a better grasp on, what you have and what you're going forward with?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Again, those discussions are difficult. Had some this morning, and really that was really the message is everybody has to stay ready. I appreciate all their effort and their hard work they've put into things, and fortunately, it's not going to work out being on the active roster, but stay ready and just appreciate everything that they've contributed up to this point. But tough days.
The one thing, I mean, obviously working with Patty for about a year now. She's the best. But one thing I really like about her, and she's mentioned this, to me and Chris before, is she asks, she thinks about the questions that she wants to ask. And you always notice they're not on the same level, they're different. They're kind of outside the box. And she's also said before that, she doesn't feel the need to ask a question every time he goes to the podium, which is also good. You don't want to just ask a question. So I always love Patty's questions because they are so different than what everybody else asks. I like that she's unique in the way she asks her questions. But I also agree that, you never know. You cut these guys and bring them back. And we saw that a few times with the Giants. So we'll see.
Thank you.
Yep, you got it.
Tom Canavan.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Good. When you make final cuts, how do you start? I mean, do you sit there and go, we want 9 offensive linemen, or do you say, give me your best 4 guys and we'll build off that? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, Joe and I have a lot of discussions, as I've said numerous times, and the scouting department, I'd say, the guys I've mentioned before and he's mentioned before are actively involved. The coordinators and their position coaches give their input, and then as we start, having discussions about roster building, there's a lot that goes into it, Tom. There's a lot of different variables that go into it. So it's not just let's make sure we have this amount of players at this position or this amount of players from this position. Maybe you have more than you did last year at a particular position, and then obviously you have to have less at another spot. There's, if you take this guy, how does he contribute to the team? Can he play, multiple roles, and can he also do some stuff on special teams, or this guy's just really good at this spot, so we need another backup for him, because if he goes down, then there's just so many different variables that come up, and we try to exhaust all of them, with our conversations and bring other people that we have a lot of trust in into them. And then ultimately try to make the best decision we can for putting a team together. It's always, you have to collect talent, throughout the off season and draft and free agency, but this is about building a team. So, there's a lot of different things that go into it.
See, when I reacted to Brandon Brown's press conference, I was enthralled by the amount of, again, these guys work hard, but when he talked about everything that went into like the development and scouting of players and the drafting of players, it's just amazing the amount of channels they go through. And I've mentioned this before, like the last regime seemed like they had a plan A and a plan B. And when plan B went awry, they had no plan C. And it was obvious with the product that they put out on the field. They looked lost, confused. They didn't look like an NFL football team. And I swear to God, by the end of 2021, Georgia could have beat the Giants. And I always say there's no way a collegiate team could beat an NFL team, but I'm telling you right now, the Georgia Bulldogs in 2021 would have given the 2021 Giants everything that they could have handled at the end of that year. I mean, when you're running back-to-back quarterback sneaks on your own 4-yard line, I think that tells you all you need to know about the team. But Coach Daboll here talking about all the things and all the variables that go into what they do to cut it down to the final 53-man roster. And again, you hear if this guy goes down this, we need a backup for this. Can he do this well? There's a lot of avenues. These guys have way more than plan A and plan B, So I think that's why they were able to do so much with so little last year. And they had a lot of injuries. And they had a lot of rotations on the offensive line and the secondary, wide receivers. So that's why I'm confident in what they do. I feel like this is a really good coaching staff that really understands the game of football and really works hard and goes through like every avenue of what if this happens, what if that happens. They go through all channels of if this happens, you got this. So they're always prepared. They do a lot of preparation.
Thank you.
You got it.
We'll take 2 more at Valentine.
Hey, Daves, I don't think we touched the defensive line yet. So,
Sure.
DJ Davidson's another one who didn't play last night. Is that a little bit like Tyree, where he
is.
wasn't ready?
Yep, he is. Him and I'd say Ashawn both were, more rehab plan, if you will, than, just weren't playing him. If they were, we already had an idea that they weren't going to play based on, the training staff, the sports science people. So that was the plan.
I have a feeling DJ Davidson's not going to make the team.
What's the status with Ryder Anderson?
Yep, he's still out. So we'll see where he's at here over the next couple of days. But he's he's still out for a little bit.
All right.
Yep.
Hey.
You got it.
Last one, Art Stapleton.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Art.
With the way your schedule is structured, and obviously the deadline's sitting there on Tuesday, I assume you guys have discussed how you're going to go through this and go through the deadline. Is it important for you that when you hit the practice field on Tuesday that you kind of have things settled, or are you ready to kind of go right up until the deadline with the numbers if there are guys that still have to be either waived or released? How are you guys handling that?
I think this is pretty much the way it happens every year. Is you early on in the season, you put your roster together, but there's always things that happen throughout the league and cuts and maybe additions. We'll do the best we can to put it together, and if there's changes, that go all the way up to the when we can make them, then there's changes. But we have an idea. Obviously, we've been talking after the game for a while, after we watched the game, and then this morning. But it's kind of ever evolving, Art. Particularly early on in the season.
Yeah, I got to be honest. Like I said, I think Darnay Holmes and Matt Peart are hanging on by a thread, and I do think that if there's somebody that the Giants think are going to be better, I could see Holmes and Peart making the 53-man roster, but then getting cut for in favor of somebody else. But that was Coach James. I like doing these videos, man. If you guys like me doing them, like I said, I'm going to be doing I think the post-game videos will be a little bit more exciting because we'll be talking about the game, and I'm really interested to see after a win, after a loss, his reaction to the stuff, or his answers to the stuff, and I look forward to reacting to it. I wish I would have done this years ago with Joe Judge because those would have been awesome. But I do enjoy doing this, so I hope you guys enjoy the videos as well. Like I said, I plan on doing them the entire season, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it, watching. Like I said, please like, subscribe, share the video out if you made it 25 minutes. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your Monday. It's Baddog Dizzle. I'm out. Peace.